I have to be upfront here, I don't think Urahara is ever going to put that captain's coat back on, and honestly that's exactly how it should be. There are some who wonder why Urahara hasn't reclaimed his position as the captain of the 12th Division. The real question isn't why didn't he go back, it's why the hell would he? Because once you understand what Urahara's been doing for the past century and how much effective he's been operating from the shadows, you realize that him becoming a captain again would actually be a massive step backward, not just for him but for the entire universe of Bleach. Let's get the obvious reasons why he won't return to the Gotei 13 out of the way. Remember his old position? Well, it's occupied by Mayuri Kurotsuchi, who's been running Squad 12 and the Research and Development Institute for over a century now. People love comparing Urahara and Mayuri, debating who's smarter, who's more effective. But these arguments miss the point that Urahara and Mayuri's expertise are both being provided to the Soul Society, and this is exponentially more valuable than just having one of them. They really push each other, with Mayuri constantly trying to one-up Urahara's inventions, with Mayuri having a preference for aesthetics over just copying the look of technology from the world of the living, while Urahara is driven towards innovating and developing new technology regardless of how it looks. Mayuri also prefers to create his own versions of technology so that he doesn't have to rely on Urahara. This competitive fire drives innovation faster than any collaboration between them ever could. Following the 1000-Year Blood War arc, Mayuri even admitted he developed his own version of the tech used to strengthen Aizen's restraints, specifically because he was tired of being overshadowed by Urahara. If you replace Mayuri with Urahara, then you lose this dynamic entirely. And let's be real, what are they gonna do with Mayuri if Urahara takes back the position of captain of Squad 12? Are they going to lock him back up in Maggot's Nest? This guy is way too valuable and too dangerous to just keep on the sidelines. The current arrangement with Urahara working outside of the Gotei 13 works because both of them can contribute without stepping on each other's toes. A major reason why Urahara isn't going to return to the Gotei 13 is the Central 46. These are the people who exiled him and had branded him as a traitor, and they refused to listen when he warned them about Aizen. Do you think that that relationship is magically going to be healed? Sure enough, they pardoned Urahara and the others once the truth about Aizen had come out, and Yamamoto even spoke on Urahara's behalf, clearing his name officially, but there was no grand ceremony, no formal apology, no acknowledgement of the 100 years that they stole from him. Just a quiet, "you're allowed back now," and everyone expected him to be grateful for this. If Urahara became a captain again, he'd be right back under their thumbs. Every experiment will be scrutinized, every invention questioned, every decision will be second guessed by these same bureaucrats who were so quick to condemn him in the first place. This is the man who had created the Hokyoku, who pioneered holification research, who operates in a bit of a moral grey area that makes people feel uncomfortable. Do you think that the Central 46 would just let him work freely? They'd be watching his every move, waiting for him to step out of line so that they could justify punishing him again. And you have to think that Urahara knows this. He's too smart not to see that trap. As a captain, he'd be under constant surveillance. His research will be subject to approval from people who don't understand or trust what he does. But as an independent shopkeeper in Karakura Town, he operates outside of the Central 46's jurisdiction. They are unable to order him around or shut down his experiments, and they can't do anything except request for his help, which he is free to give or refuse as he sees fit. This is real power in my opinion, not the rank of a captain, but Urahara having the freedom to act according to his own judgment without any oversight from people who have already proven that they'll throw him under the bus when it's convenient. Do you want to know the real reason why Urahara isn't gonna return? It's because he doesn't want to. After he was exiled, he found something better, which was his freedom. After more than a century of living on his own terms, building his shop, establishing his life in the human world, creating his unique role that only he can fill, why would he give all of this up? His life in Karakura Town isn't a temporary situation anymore. He's been there for over 100 years. That's longer than most Shinigami serving as captains. He's raised Jinta and Ururu, built a business, become a fixture of Karakura Town. He isn't waiting for his exile to be lifted lifted so that he can become captain of Squad 12 again. He's comfortable being the most dangerous independent operative within the spiritual world of Bleach. When Ichigo lost his powers after he did Mugetsu, Urahara didn't wait for permission from the Soul Society to help. He immediately started researching how to restore his powers. Remember the moment where Urahara saw the look on Ichigo's face after the final Getsuga Tensho? He saw what it cost him and he took it upon himself to find a solution. He didn't ask for any permission, especially from the Central 46, to do this. He had spent an entire year developing that Reishi sword, the one that Rukia would eventually use to stab Ichigo and return his powers. And when he finally cracked it, he didn't go through official channels, he contacted Rukia directly, explained what needed to be done, and then did something that perfectly encapsulates why Urahara works better outside of the system. He went straight to head Captain Yamamoto and convinced him to have every captain and lieutenant donate their Reiatsu to the Reishi sword. As a result, Yamamoto gave an unprecedented order that all captains and lieutenants were to pour their Reiatsu into this sword, no questions or hesitation. That's the level of trust that Urahara has now built, not through rank or position, but through results and his reliability. And you know what Urahara revealed in the Can't For Your Own World light novels? That moment when Yamamoto acknowledged him again after 100 years, when the head captain gave him that order to help Ichigo, Urahara described feeling like you could finally breathe again after drowning for so long. The emotional weight of that exile did in fact crush him, but he never let it stop him from doing what was right. And then we have the events of the 1000-Year Blood War arc, and here you really get to understand why the Soul Society needs Urahara. While the Gotei 13 was getting decimated by the Quincy's ability to steal Bankai, guess who solved that problem? It wasn't Squad 12, it was Urahara. He invented the Shadow Infiltration Pills. To explain it simply, it allows a Shinigami to temporarily holofy their Bankai, making it poisonous to Quincy who try to steal it. He understood something fundamental about the Quincy that even Mayuri seemed to have overlooked, and this is their primordial fear of hollows. Hollow Reishi was in fact poisonous to Quincy. It would destroy their souls from within. So Urahara weaponized that vulnerability. He created these pills that would briefly infuse Hollow Reishi into a Shinigami's Bankai, turning it poisonous for any Quincy foolish enough to try stealing it, and he distributed these tablets to every captain and lieutenant in the middle of a war zone through Mayuri's communication network. And this is what I'm talking about when I say Urahara is more effective outside of the Gotei 13. Could Captain Urahara of Squad 12 have done this? Maybe, but it would have taken weeks of approval, bureaucratic review. The Urahara who operates from Karakura Town, he assessed the problem, developed the solution, and deployed it in the time that it would have taken a captain to schedule a meeting with the Central 46. And then came his final battle of the 1000-Year Blood War arc against Askin Naklava. Here he had used his Bankai Kanon Biraki Benihime Aratame for the first time. He even had formed a tactical alliance with Grimmjow in order to take down the Sternritter. This is the kind of morally grey decision making that captains just can't do. At the end of the arc, he collapsed in Askin's Gift Ball Deluxe, apologizing to Ichigo and Rukia for leaving everything in their hands. Even in defeat, even when he was poisoned and he was dying, Urahara had accomplished what needed to be done. Thankfully, he was rescued by Nell, and his contributions to the 1000-Year Blood War arc were absolutely irreplaceable. Then, 6 months after Yhwach was defeated, Tokinada Tsuneyashiro had made his move. Urahara's role in the Can't For Your Own World light novels was even more critical. This is where we see the full scope of why the Soul Society depends on him being an external asset. Tokinada was operating within the bounds of noble privilege. He was using legitimate authority to pursue an insane plan, which was to create a new Soul King via the hybrid being Hikone. The Gotei 13 couldn't just march in and arrest him without any evidence, approval, or political complications. When Tokinada's ally Ora Michibane sealed off Karakura Town and tried to recruit Urahara, he engaged her in battle using high-level Kido. He used Hado 91, Hado 99 as he was analyzing her abilities, gathering intelligence, and Urahara even worked with the Fullbringer Yukio, and by the end of the Can't For Your Own World light novels, Urahara was in the control room working to stop Tokinada's backup scheme, which was to send a fake royal palace crashing down onto Earth. He opened a massive garganta and redirected it to Hueco Mundo instead, saving countless lives through quick thinking. During Urahara's final discussion with Isagi, Urahara confessed something crucial about why he created the Hokyoku. People assumed that it was for some noble purpose, to help the Soul King or reverse the situation, but Urahara admitted the truth. He created it out of pure curiosity. He wanted to open a new door, push past limitations, see what was possible. All of these goals were secondary to his desire to just want to create something new. And then he quietly said to himself, fundamentally, I am no different from Mr. Kurotsuchi. That self-awareness, that honesty about his own dangerous tendencies is exactly why Urahara chooses to stay outside of the official system. He knows that he is a scientist whose curiosity can override his judgment, someone who could potentially sacrifice too much in the pursuit of knowledge. If Urahara ever crosses a line, he wants it to be people with real moral clarity who call him out, not the Central 46 who wield institutional power. This is a choice that he's making every single day. Sure, Urahara could demand his position back, he could leverage his contributions into an official reinstatement, but he actively chooses not to because he understands that the freedom and accountability of his current role is what keeps him from getting too carried away. Then we get a considerable time skip 12 years after the defeat of Yhwach. During the No Breathes from Hell one-shot chapter, we learn that Urahara has been working closely with the Shinigami Research and Development Institute. He has been driving massive technological advancement in the Soul Society. We're talking about introducing televisions that can pick up shows from the human world, developing new spirit devices which can video call from the Soul Society to the world of the living, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible with Reishi technology. Rukia mentions all of this casually during her video call with Ichigo. All of these innovations are thanks to Urahara. He's revolutionizing the Soul Society's technological infrastructure without being part of any official chain of command. Mayuri's even competing with him, trying to keep up with his own inventions that he claims are more suited to the aesthetics of the Serite. That rivalry is still going strong after all of these years, as they are pushing each other to innovate faster and faster. This is what 12 years of this arrangement looks like. Urahara hasn't just carved out a new role for himself, he's created an irreplaceable position that only exists because he's outside of the Gotei 13. The Soul Society now depends on having someone who can operate in the grey areas, who can make decisions that captains can't justify, who can conduct research that would never get approved through official channels. When Yamamoto needed a team sent to Hueco Mundo but couldn't officially authorize it, Urahara opened up the Garganta. When the Gotei 13 needed a solution to stolen Bankai but couldn't develop it fast enough, Urahara delivered. The trust that he has rebuilt with the Soul Society is based upon him being external. He's the ally that they call when normal solutions won't work, when they need someone who isn't bound by the same rules that they are. If he became a captain again, he'd lose that unique value proposition. He'd just be another talented officer in the hierarchy, subject to the same limitations as everyone else. But yeah, we have reached the point of the video where I want to hand over the discussion to all of you. What do you guys think of my reasonings for why Urahara will never become a captain of the Gotei 13 again? If there's anything that I've forgotten to mention, then let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this one, and I look forward to seeing you in my next Bleach video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.